Most people think watermelon is just a summer fruit. Sweet, refreshing, mostly water. Something you eat at a picnic or after a long hot day. But what if I told you that eating watermelon before bed may actually change what happens inside your brain while you sleep? In my 26 years of medical practice, I've seen more and more adults over 50 struggle with something they often can't fully explain. They tell me, "Doctor, I wake up tired. My memory feels slower. I walk into a room and forget why I'm there. I sleep all night, but my brain still feels foggy in the morning." And many of these patients are shocked when we start looking at one hidden issue that affects all of it: nighttime circulation and overnight brain recovery. Because your brain doesn't simply shut off while you sleep. In fact, some of the most important repair processes happen during those nighttime hours. Your brain clears waste, regulates inflammation, restores neurotransmitters, balances blood flow, and strengthens memory pathways while you're asleep. The problem is, many people unknowingly eat foods at night that interfere with those repair mechanisms. Heavy meals, sugary snacks, alcohol, processed desserts, even certain healthy foods can spike blood sugar or disrupt deep sleep. But watermelon is interesting. Hi, I'm Dr. William Lee, and I've been practicing medicine for over 26 years, and one thing I tell my patients every week is this: the foods you eat before bed can influence your brain far more than most people realize. Now, to be clear, watermelon is not a miracle cure. I never want to oversimplify health. But there are several fascinating reasons why this fruit may support brain function, circulation, hydration, and even sleep quality when eaten correctly and in moderation. And tonight, I want to walk you through exactly what happens inside the body when you eat watermelon before bed, especially after age 50, because some of the effects surprise even my medical colleagues. One of the first things we need to understand is hydration. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at maintaining fluid balance. Older adults often experience mild dehydration without realizing it. And here's the problem: even mild dehydration can reduce blood flow to the brain, impair concentration, increase fatigue, and worsen headaches or dizziness. Patients often come to me complaining about brain fog, and when we evaluate them, we discover they simply are not hydrating properly throughout the day. Watermelon is nearly 92% water, but unlike sugary beverages or processed nighttime snacks, it also contains potassium, magnesium, and natural antioxidants that help support circulation and cellular function. That matters because your brain is extremely sensitive to blood flow. If circulation becomes sluggish overnight, brain cells may not receive optimal oxygen and nutrient delivery during sleep. Over time, poor vascular health is strongly linked with memory decline and cognitive aging. And this brings us to something most people have never heard about: nitric oxide. Watermelon contains an amino acid called citrulline. Inside the body, citrulline helps increase nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide relaxes blood vessels and may help improve circulation throughout the body, including blood flow to the brain. In my clinical experience, many adults over 60 have underlying vascular stiffness without even knowing it. Their arteries become less flexible over time due to inflammation, high blood pressure, diabetes, or years of processed foods. So when circulation improves even slightly, some patients notice they wake up feeling clearer, less groggy, and more mentally refreshed. Now, does this happen overnight for everyone? No. And I always want to stay medically honest with you. But the physiology behind it is very real. Another fascinating area involves oxidative stress. Your brain consumes enormous amounts of energy. And as it produces energy, it also produces oxidative byproducts, essentially cellular wear and tear. Over decades, oxidative stress can contribute to inflammation, cognitive decline, and accelerated brain aging. Watermelon contains antioxidants like lycopene and vitamin C, which help neutralize some of this oxidative damage. In fact, lycopene has been studied extensively for its potential role in protecting blood vessels and reducing inflammatory stress. And here's something many people don't realize: watermelon actually contains more lycopene than raw tomatoes. Most of my patients are shocked when I tell them that. Now, I want to ask you something. How old are you, and what city are you watching from today? And have you noticed changes in your memory, focus, or sleep over the past few years? Let me know in the comments, because I always do my best to read as many of your comments as I can. What's especially interesting is how sleep and brain health feed into each other. Poor sleep increases inflammation, Inflammation worsens brain function. Brain dysfunction then disrupts sleep even further. It becomes a vicious cycle. And one thing I've learned after treating patients for over 2 decades is that small nighttime habits often create the biggest long-term effects. Not dramatic detoxes, not expensive supplements, not trendy internet brain hacks, simple, consistent behaviors. Now, before you start eating huge bowls of watermelon every night, there's an important warning I need to discuss. Because for some people, especially those with diabetes, kidney disease, nighttime reflux, or blood sugar instability, eating too much watermelon before bed can actually backfire. And this is where moderation becomes critical. You see, watermelon still contains natural sugar. While it has a relatively high water content, overeating it late at night may cause blood sugar spikes in sensitive individuals. I've had patients tell me, "Doctor, I thought fruit was always safe." But physiology is more complicated than that. Timing, portion size, medications, insulin sensitivity, kidney function, and overall metabolic health all matter. And in a few moments, I'm going to explain the exact bedtime mistakes many adults make with watermelon, including one that may actually disrupt sleep instead of helping it. I'll also share which group of patients should be especially cautious before adding watermelon to their nighttime routine. And if this video is helping you better understand how your brain and nutrition work together, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. I share evidence-based health guidance like this every week to help you make safer, smarter decisions for long-term health. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is assuming that all fruits affect the body the same way. They don't. And when it comes to nighttime eating, the difference becomes even more important after age 50 because your metabolism changes, your insulin response changes, your sleep architecture changes, even your kidneys and circulation change with age. So while watermelon may help some people sleep and think more clearly the next day, others may unknowingly sabotage their brain recovery without realizing it. In my practice, I've seen both sides. A few years ago, I treated a patient named Robert. He was 68 years old, retired, with mild high blood pressure and early prediabetes. He came to see me because he felt mentally exhausted every morning, not physically tired, mentally foggy. He told me, "Doctor, by 10 a.m. my brain already feels slow." He also struggled with nighttime snacking, ice cream, cookies, crackers, especially late at night while watching television. Now his blood sugar wasn't diabetic yet, but it was trending upward. His sleep quality was poor. He woke up multiple times a night, and his wife noticed he seemed more forgetful over the previous year. Instead of putting him on an aggressive diet immediately, we focused on small nighttime changes first. One of those changes was replacing processed bedtime snacks with lighter, hydrating foods in controlled portions, including a small serving of watermelon about 60 to 90 minutes before bed, not a giant bowl, not juice, not blended with added sugar, just a moderate serving. Within several weeks, he noticed something interesting. He wasn't waking up feeling as heavy or mentally sluggish. His nighttime cravings decreased. He also began sleeping more consistently because he wasn't eating processed sugar late at night. Now, I want to be very careful here. Watermelon itself was not the miracle. The real benefit came from reducing inflammatory nighttime eating habits while improving hydration and circulation. That distinction matters medically. And this brings us to an important myth versus fact moment. Myth: eating fruit before bed is always unhealthy. Fact: the effect depends on the fruit, portion size, metabolic health, and what it replaces. If someone eats a moderate amount of watermelon instead of cake, candy, or chips, that's a completely different metabolic situation. But there's another layer most people overlook completely: inflammation inside the brain. Many adults today are living with chronic low-grade inflammation without obvious symptoms. They may simply feel foggy, fatigued, irritable, mentally slower. And one thing I wish more people understood is that poor sleep itself can drive inflammation inside the nervous system. During deep sleep, your brain activates something called the glymphatic system, essentially a nighttime cleaning process that helps clear metabolic waste products from the brain. When sleep becomes fragmented, that cleaning process may become less efficient. This is one reason why sleep deprivation has been associated with memory decline, mood changes, and increased risk of neurodegenerative disease over time. Now, can watermelon directly detox the brain? No, and I don't like using exaggerated internet language like that, but certain nutrients inside watermelon may help support the systems involved in healthy circulation and reduced oxidative stress, which indirectly supports brain recovery during sleep. And this is where I want to give you the top 5 things that may happen when watermelon is eaten correctly before bed. Number 5, reduced late night cravings. This surprises many of my patients. Because watermelon contains water and natural fiber, some people feel more satisfied and less likely to reach for processed snacks afterward. And reducing nighttime processed food intake can dramatically improve sleep quality and overnight blood sugar stability. Number 4, better overnight hydration. Most people ignore this completely. Even mild dehydration can contribute to headaches, fatigue, poor concentration, and nighttime muscle cramps. Since watermelon contains both water and potassium, it may help support fluid balance overnight, especially in older adults who chronically underhydrate. Number 3, improve circulation. This is where citrulline becomes important again. Citrulline may help support nitric oxide production, which helps blood vessels relax and improve circulation. Better circulation means better oxygen delivery, including to the brain. And I've seen many patients with vascular stiffness benefit from simple circulation supporting habits over time. Number 2, reduced inflammatory stress. Watermelon contains antioxidants including lycopene and vitamin C, which help combat oxidative stress. Over years, oxidative stress contributes to cellular aging throughout the body, including the brain. This is one reason colorful plant foods are consistently associated with healthier aging patterns. And number 1, some people wake up mentally clearer. Not everyone, but enough patients report this that I pay attention to it clinically, especially when watermelon replaces heavy nighttime eating habits. Patients tell me, my head feels lighter. I'm thinking more clearly. I don't feel as groggy. Now, could some of this simply come from improved sleep quality and reduced sugar overload at night? Absolutely, but clinically, the result still matters. I also want to mention something extremely important for viewers over 60. If you have diabetes, kidney disease, heart failure, or you take medications that affect potassium levels, you need to be cautious. Watermelon contains potassium and natural sugars. For many people, that's perfectly fine in moderation. But in certain medical conditions, excessive intake may create complications. I tell my patients this every week. Healthy foods can still become unhealthy in the wrong amount. That's why context matters in medicine. And let me ask you something else. Have you ever noticed certain foods affecting your sleep or mental clarity the next morning? And how long has this been bothering you? Leave a comment below because your experience may help someone else reading the comments too. If you value practical, evidence-based health information explained clearly, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. I share videos like this every week because small daily habits often create the biggest long-term changes in brain and body health. So the question becomes, what is the safest and most effective way to eat watermelon before bed if your goal is to support brain health, sleep quality, and mental clarity? After 26 years of treating patients, I've learned that timing, quantity, and consistency matter far more than extremes. You do not need massive amounts. You do not need expensive powders or superfood products, and you certainly do not need internet detox trends. What your brain responds to best is stability. So here's the practical bedtime protocol I often recommend to patients who want to experiment safely with nighttime watermelon intake. Let's walk through it step by step. First, portion size. This is where many people get into trouble. The ideal amount for most adults is usually about 1 to 1.5 cups of fresh watermelon, not half the melon sitting in the refrigerator. I've had patients unknowingly consume enormous portions because watermelon feels light, but excessive intake can increase nighttime urination, spike blood sugar in sensitive individuals, and disrupt sleep instead of helping it. Moderation is everything. Second, timing. Try eating watermelon about 60 to 90 minutes before bed, not immediately before lying down. This gives the body time to process fluids and sugars more gradually. Patients who eat large amounts right before sleep often wake up multiple times during the night to urinate, and fragmented sleep is one of the fastest ways to impair overnight brain recovery. Third, avoid combining watermelon with heavy nighttime foods. This is a mistake I see constantly. People eat watermelon after pizza, fried foods, processed desserts, or alcohol, and then wonder why they feel bloated or restless. Your digestive system slows down naturally at night. Heavy meals increase metabolic stress while you sleep. If you truly want your brain to recover overnight, your evening routine should become lighter, calmer, and less inflammatory overall. Now, let me share the 5 bedtime habits that most strongly support brain repair after age 50. And yes, watermelon can fit into this list when used wisely. Number 5, keep nighttime sugar low. Even natural sugars can become problematic in excess. Avoid large desserts, sweet drinks, or excessive fruit portions late at night. Stable overnight blood sugar helps protect sleep quality and brain recovery. Number 4, protect deep sleep. Your brain performs critical repair functions during deep sleep stages. That means limiting alcohol, reducing late night screen exposure, and maintaining a consistent sleep schedule. I tell my patients this constantly. You cannot separate brain health from sleep health. Number 3, support circulation daily. Walking, hydration, blood pressure control, and anti-inflammatory foods all help maintain healthy blood flow to the brain. Remember, the brain depends on circulation every second of every day. Number 2, reduce inflammatory nighttime eating. Processed snacks before bed are one of the biggest hidden drivers of poor sleep and metabolic dysfunction. Chips, cookies, ice cream, sugary cereals. I've seen these habits quietly worsen fatigue, blood sugar, and cognitive complaints for years before patients finally connect the dots. And number 1, pay attention to how your body responds. This is critical. Medicine is never one size fits all. Some people genuinely feel better with a small portion of watermelon at night. Others may notice bloating, reflux, unstable blood sugar, or disrupted sleep. Your body gives feedback constantly. The key is learning to listen to it honestly. Now, there are also important warning signs that should never be ignored. If you experience persistent memory decline, confusion, severe fatigue, dizziness, speech problems, worsening headaches, or major sleep disruption, do not assume food alone is the answer. Please see a doctor. Sometimes what looks like brain fog may actually involve sleep apnea, high blood pressure, medication, side effects, vitamin deficiencies, poor blood sugar control, depression, or even early neurological disease. One thing I wish more people understood is that brain symptoms are often the body's early warning system, and catching problems early can make a tremendous difference. Before we finish, I want to leave you with one final myth versus fact. Myth: there is one perfect food that protects the brain. Fact: long-term brain health comes from patterns, not miracles. It's your sleep patterns, your movement, your blood pressure, your stress levels, your daily food choices, your hydration, your consistency over years. That's what truly shapes cognitive aging. Watermelon may absolutely be a helpful part of that picture for many people, especially when it replaces unhealthy nighttime habits and supports hydration and circulation. But the real goal is building a lifestyle that allows the brain to recover, repair, and function optimally as you age. And if you've watched this far, I genuinely love to hear from you. Have you ever tried eating watermelon before bed? Did you notice changes in your sleep, energy, or mental clarity the next morning? And how old are you? Leave your experience in the comments below. I always do my best to read as many comments as I can, because hearing real experiences helps this community learn from one another. If this video helped you better understand your brain and nighttime nutrition, please like the video and subscribe. I share evidence-based medical guidance like this every week to help you protect your health with practical, realistic habits that truly matter.